Hey, this is Lola, but you can call me Lola if you like.
Hi, this is Velisa. You can call me Bells if you want. And this is the Everybody Hates HR podcast, episode 72.
What are we doing today?
Dilemmas.
Yes.
Oh.
Um, Wait, is it true that Nelly and Ashanti are having a baby? Yeah, there was rumors.
Yeah, it looks like she is, but who knows? Who knows?
Listen,
But it looks like
when
she
it,
is.
yeah, all the stuff with Halle Bailey, I was so happy that she was just like, mind your business, and then just kind of came out when she wanted to. Obviously, most people had guessed, but I love that she was just like Ray Charles in the whole situation. I loved it for her.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to share your pregnancy with anybody you don't want to. I feel like people feel so entitled to celebrities that
They are. They literally are.
like, leave them alone when they're human. Like, they want to protect their peace too. Like, the hell. The only thing that Halle did that was just a bit like, girl, was when she said that her nose was like that because it was black. When people started saying that they could see the pregnancy nose.
Yeah, and then she was like, "Oh, I'm black," and they was like, but you've been black, and your nose is now different." So
Yeah,
that
that
was
was a
very
bit
sweet of
hard.
her.
She could have ignored the comment. Like, it was a live. Like, you didn't have to answer it.
So we got some Reddit dilemmas to do. Do you want to go first, or should I?
You go for it.
Mm, okay, let me go for this one. It says gross misconduct. What would you do? Okay, I have been accused of gross misconduct. I was terminated last Friday. I'm in my probation period, so my notice is 1 week. After being terminated, I was told I'd be paid my notice, I assume for failed probation, right? But would not be working. A few minutes after the termination meeting, I then sent documents to my personal email. I then deleted the emails from my sent folder. It was a stupid decision. It was wrong. I've never been terminated before, and I was being rushed out of the office after my dismissal, and I felt I would not have access to anything after I handed my laptop over, even though it was 1 p.m. and my day was supposed to finish at 6 p.m. So I was still employed by the company. So I sent the documents as a way to back up any info I felt I'd need to have access to for the rest of the day, but it obviously doesn't excuse it. However, my intent was not to steal. The company realized I had sent the email and retrieved it. They accused me of theft and asked me to leave. They also rescinded my termination letter, stating that I had violated certain clauses of my contract related to canvassing, soliciting, and approaching clients after being terminated. They then said my last day of employment was the 16th of February rather than the 23rd. They then sent me a letter confirming gross misconduct allegations. My issue is the information I shared has not and will not be used in the canvassing, soliciting, or approaching of clients. I had already deleted the info and had not sent it to any third party, only me. I don't know what to do next. I do want to apologize to them and raise some concerns about the way they conducted their investigation. I was not informed of who did the investigation. I was not made aware of my right to appeal. I was not invited to a disciplinary meeting, and they also sent a termination letter to me before finishing the investigation that my last day of employment was the 16th and not the 23rd. It was my understanding that they could not make this decision until the investigation had concluded. I obviously don't want to rejoin the conversation. So sorry. I'm so sorry. I already have another job that I've accepted, but I do want to appeal based on the reasoning within the contract that they reference as to why I'd committed gross misconduct and the manner of the investigation. But there's a non-compete in place, and as I said, I've already joined another company. Non-compete is for 6 months, which is insane, and I need the money. However, if I appeal, and if there's a way they can find out I'm appealed again, plus use that against me, what would you do?
But what's the point, though?
Oh, just shut up, man. Like, is this ridiculous? You did something wrong. Whether or not they think that,
What are you trying to prove?
I think they want to, like, it's one of the things where they just want to prove that they didn't do the thing that you're saying I did. If you know what I mean. Doesn't make
You did. It's just a different, like, variation of saying what you
literally,
did.
literally, it's like you did something wrong, but the wrong thing you did is not the wrong thing that they're saying you did. But you did the
Right.
wrong thing.
And like, where do we go from here?
That I
Like,
just don't see the point in. I don't know why this person would appeal. Like, it's going to be a waste of your time. Number one, let's just go through the facts. You're in probation. So unless you're saying there's some sort of protected characteristic at play here, which you haven't mentioned, your rights are slim to none, right? You try to pick holes in the way they've investigated, what they told you, and all this other kind of stuff is irrelevant because what are you going to do? The only claim that this person could make is for unpaid wages, right? So they could try and claim for unpaid wages for that week if they're saying that it wasn't actually gross misconduct. That's the only claim that they'd be able to make. And I think it would be unlikely to be successful because you did something. You basically sent things to your personal email. I don't believe for a second what this person is saying, that they said they sent them because they wanted the stuff so that they could do their work, the rest of their work for the day. They've dismissed you. They're not expecting you to work for the rest of the day, they told you. So between the time between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. that the person is saying that they sent the information, that the documents for, is nonsense. They're lying. They're relying on this post. Like, that's impossible. You'd have to be really stupid to do that. Your employer has fired you, told you not to work. Why are you going to continue working for another 5 hours when they've asked you not to? Now they fired you. You want to fight for the 1 week. You've got another job, which you're even in this message saying you think it might be in breach of your non-compete. Whether your non-compete is enforceable, you're worried that appealing would highlight the fact that you started working again. I think some people don't want to hurt themselves.
mate, people are just not making sense. They're just not making sense. I feel like people just like to appeal and create work for no reason sometimes, other than for their own like ego.
I really can't stand, as a HR person, yeah, I really can't stand people who abuse like the appeal system or anything like that. The appeal system is there if you genuinely believe that you have grounds to appeal, right? And if you've thought about it and if there's something that you want to gain, this person is trying to clear their name when they did the crime. They could still a different crime. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's just such a waste of time. Like, I would never appeal if I was this person in terms of what would you do. Just so you're aware, the people in the Reddit's comments, they cook them.
Good.
Yeah. As they should. Yeah. And other people well, some of them did. Some of them were giving that telling them to call ACAS. So they were telling them to call
What?
ACAS. And I'm like,
Why?
what's ACAS going to do for you? Yeah. So I think that this is one that you have to charge to the game. Also, you failed your probation. I have shame. Just exit silently. Gone with play.
Like I said, some people don't have shame.
Oh, okay, cool. Should we move on to another one?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Okay, so I have a dilemma too. So my boss got fired and I'm taking his responsibility. Background, I'm 22. I have been working as a software quality engineer at a small but quickly growing software company as a contractor for 6 months. I love my boss. My director loves me. My director does not like my boss. My boss, quality manager, just got fired today by the director of quality over all 3 locations. She told me they will not be replacing him, and instead, I and one other guy will be maintaining quality for this specific location of 150 employees. This means not only will I be doing the software testing, I will also be doing hardware inspections and documentation, as well as hosting the quality meetings that my boss was doing. I'm somewhat wise for my age and learn information quickly, but this seems like a big step for me. I mean, I'm only 22 years old and it's daunting to hold the 20 plus year engineers accountable and executing corrective actions. I suppose my question is it valid for me to ask for a significant raise? My boss was making double my salary at the time he got fired. That,
Be asking, please.
like, if they're not giving, you definitely need to be asking. How can you jump from being just a contractor to literally being a manager and overseeing 150 employees with what I'm assuming is no managerial experience?
Yeah.
So now you're learning on the job whilst doing your old job. Somebody needs to pay up.
I really hate when companies do that. When someone leaves, and especially when the person that left maybe wasn't doing a good job, they'll think, oh, such and such can do that job. they have time or they have whatever, but they don't. Because they're junior, they maybe look at their salary and think, oh, it'll be a learning opportunity for them. But if they even say give a pay rise, they're not giving a pay rise which was commensurate with the work that they're doing. And I really hate that. Like how's someone being paid double and you're asking them to take on that person's work or between two of them and you're not going to offer them any pay rise or stepping up allowance? Like, is this a permanent solution? Is it a temporary solution? Like, no, they have to ask. They have to come with a number.
Like, yeah, and I feel like you can be so confident to ask as well.
Yeah, they
Like,
need you.
yeah, it shouldn't even be a thing because you've literally taken on a senior role with zero experience of what it's like to be a senior leader. So I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
thing that your boss likes you, and clearly like the director, even though they don't like your old boss, they like you. So, it's worked in your favor. Don't mess it up, but it's a
And also,
lot.
do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? That's the other thing, right? Like sometimes people act like I don't know if this works in the US or they're in the UK, but in the UK for sure they can't make you do it. Um, it's not easy to say no sometimes, but if they're literally asking you to do another job for someone, there's another job that someone else used to do, you can literally say no. So do you feel ready to step up and do like that's what I would ask the person, like, do they feel ready to step up and do this work? Is it what they want to do? You're 22, just started working or whatever. You might just want to get better at the work that you're doing already rather than, you know, um stepping up and doing this other stuff. Maybe you just don't want to do it. And also I can tell you right now, that's going to be stressful. You're 22, you're going to be managing people that are 20 plus years your senior. I can't imagine in what kind of environment those people wouldn't be looking at you like you're a baby. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a stressful job. They're going to be like, oh, what did this person know? Doesn't matter in any environment when you've got older people and you've got a younger person who probably is respectfully underqualified to do the role, even though even if it's a transitionary role for them, you need to decide if you're going to do it. It for sure will be stressful, and you also need to understand what support is going to be put in place for you to do this. Because that's the thing that we overlook. You're talking about raise. Listen, sometimes there's no amount of money that's worth, bankrupting your mental health for. So if it's now going to be a stressful job that you can't do or that you can't do in reasonable hours, the people that you're managing are going to be praying for your downfall. Like, you just have to, ask for the money, but also ask for the support at the same time.
You have to, otherwise it will be the potential downfall of you, because it's clear they're not going to put the right support in place.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer the question, always definitely ask, but you can't always expect that it's going to come. And if they say no, then you need to know if you're open to doing it without the money or not.
That's true. And if not, just say I'd just prefer to keep my job and let them recruit. Probably cost them more. So
It'll definitely cost them more. They'll probably be offering you a lot more money when you if you say that as well.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, congratulations to that person, sort of. This one here, the title is "Why doesn't my manager confront me with my mistakes but talks behind my back instead?" There's so much unprofessionalism in this world. I think it's funny. There is a new manager who was assigned to supervise my team due to my original manager leaving. Honestly, the new manager is so liked by everyone. She is not the subject expert in my field. She's been in the organization for many years, and even all the top executives love her. She's close to my co-worker, which I don't mind. Since he became my manager, my co-worker has been acting weird towards me. My manager acts like I don't exist. She cancelled all my meetings and assigned all my work to others to do it without letting me know. She doesn't talk to me at all. My job requires lots of collaboration and working on Excel together. Our process has changed like 8 times during the last 2 months. If my co-worker makes mistakes or isn't following the process, my manager would say, it's no big deal, figure it out. I've made mistakes before and my manager has never talked with me about it since we don't have meetings. She would shut her door with my co-worker and then throw shade at me later. For example, she would repeatedly say, we have people who add an extra column, right, to my coworker and then laugh. Sometimes I don't even know what she's talking about, and I find out about mistakes from my coworkers. And then I realize the shade from earlier in the week was about me. We have a New York coworker who just joined. It almost seems like my manager is trying to recruit a new coworker to dislike me. Fortunately, my coworker dislikes the first coworker, so my new coworker seems to be on my side. Why doesn't my manager confront me with my typos and small errors? Are you even asking the right question? Like, listen, people need to be understanding when it's the time to exit and when it's the time to complain. You need to do the things that you need to do. First of all, like, unfortunately, you shouldn't have to manage your manager, but put time in with her. Put time in her
Yeah.
diary. What's like, she said she cancelled the meetings, but put time in her diary. I think I'm going to assume this is in the UK, right? But put time in her diary, and then if she continuously declines it, send her an email. Say you want to catch up with her. You would benefit you to have regular catch ups, right? And then if she declines those, then there's just evidence, that you're not being supported. All of this can kind of eventually come together. Like, this is kind of creating a bullying atmosphere. It's just not nice, right? But it's hard. It'll be hard for you to find evidence if you're not documenting these things. So I will start writing everything down.
My thing is, I have a pet peeve when anyone does this, which is not give like feedback directly to somebody. Like, just why is the I don't understand why the manager's not speaking to the employee directly though. Like, that's such a pet peeve.
It's so unprofessional. It's so unprofessional.
Yeah. Like, what is your? Because what will happen is, somewhere down the line, this person is underperforming. Now the manager wants to come and talk to all sorts of people in HR with all their complaints, but now you've never spoken to that person directly, but they're aware you're speaking about them. And then now we're in a predicament. Like, as a manager, and I'm seeing it more and more. As a manager, just make sure that you're writing down feedback, like where it's developmental. There's a difference between like coaching and performance management. I feel like that's so basic, but a lot of like managers and leaders don't get it. You can coach a high performer as well as coaching a low performer, but you can only performance manage an underperformer. Like, so just give feedback where you can. Like, why does this person have this one up on you right now of, oh yeah, you're closing the door and having certain conversations? Like, it's just so, it is unprofessional, but it's also just frustrating, like, for everyone that's going to have to be involved as this progresses.
I think, like, unfortunately, not all managers are built the same. Some are good and some are not so. But I also think it's applies the other way around. So if you know that your manager isn't doing the right thing, you should also feed back to them. I know it's super hard to do so, but I think sometimes when you do have a manager that is unprofessional, then I wouldn't say putting them on notice, but making it clear that you see it and you know it's not acceptable is important. So just saying, hi, I don't know why I want to say Judy, but hi, Judy. I heard from Kate that had made a comment about my work in the meeting when I wasn't there, or I understood later that that comment was about the work that I had done. I'd really appreciate it if you could give this feedback to me, like, directly in the future, so that I'm able to improve on it. And I would also prefer not to be the subject of jokes because I found it quite hurtful and unprofessional. After that, for sure, Judy will hate you, but she's going to be careful. She's going to be careful not to do those things in the future. So I definitely think, like, advocating for yourself is helpful. You don't just want to be like a little lost lamb, being like, why won't my manager speak to me? Come online, even ask us, or even go on Reddit to ask, why won't your manager do that? No one is going to have those answers but your manager. The thing you should be thinking about is, what is your response going to be to it?
Yeah,
Right?
just
How much do you like your job?
build that paper trail and then make your next move.
Yeah, but speak to her first, because it's the same. I think it's the same thing with you. I appreciate the situations where employees don't feel comfortable to go to their managers in general, but yeah, I also think it's the same in terms of, like, if you have an issue, the first thing you should always be doing is trying to speak to the person directly if it's appropriate to do so. So
Yeah.
I would do that, get that paper trail trailing, and then see what she does. But I do reckon that most people, once called out, even if they're not doing it in a super confrontational way, once you call it out, they typically will stop, or they'll just drive that behavior. more undercover, and you probably won't see it as much.
Yeah, agreed.
Can I just say something which is super unrelated? I'm just going to put it in here. What is an advert break? I don't really like Steve Butler, right? I've said it before. No, I don't like him as an entrepreneur. He's really good. Something just came up on my phone.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You saw the clip about the massage gun?
Yeah. Something just came, an advert just came up on my phone, and I was like, oh, that just reminded me. So yeah, so Stephen Bartlett, obviously great entrepreneur, blah blah blah. But there was this clip that was going around on social media. I saw it on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, and I saw it on TikTok, and it was basically Steve Bartlett telling this person in Dragon's Den that the massage gun that they were selling or whatever, it's not a good product, and he gets sent loads of them, and they just pile up in his house, and he basically was like, that the person that there was a couple, a man and a woman, and the woman, this is a mixed racial woman, she basically said, look, that's fine, but you're not our target audience. Our target audience don't get sent these things just for free all the time. Like, that's not our target audience. Our target audience is this kind of person. And it just reminded me, like, it's so important to stick up for yourself, because sometimes people will be saying all sorts of nonsense, and it's so easy for them to go unchecked and to continue. But once you check them, then, like, you know what I mean? Like, they know maybe you're not the one. And I didn't see the whole thing, so I don't know what Stephen Bartlett said after that, but he was silent at least for a second. And I think it's really...
Gagged.
Pardon?
He was gagged.
Yeah, he was literally gagged, like, for a second, because he was like, oh, obviously he's the one that in this situation that has the money, and in theory the power dynamic should be on his side. But doesn't mean you can just come and open your mouth and be talking rubbish. And that's what he was talking about. In my case, and that is my pet peeve about Stephen Bartlett. Whatever I said that I don't like him, it's not as a person or as an entrepreneur. It's the fact that he has no, I feel like he has no self-awareness. Like, I listened to, when we started the pod, or at some point I was listening to an episode that he put out about how to grow your podcast, and then he was talking about, you know, how to monetize and how you should reach out to the CEOs of companies that, so that's what he did with Fuel that he went sort of ramming down our throats. But that's what he did with Fuel, and how you know, the CEO got back to him because obviously his email was so authentic, and I was like, no, the CEO got back to you because you're Stephen Bartlett. Like, if I email and I only eat Fuel, my whole existence is based on Fuel. They're still not going to email me back in the same gusto and the same speed, and I might not ever get an email back. So he just has a level of, he just doesn't have the right level of self-awareness, I found, from some of the things that he has said. And also, I hate the fact that Dario was CEO. He's not just he's not CEOs, it's just people.
You know what? I did think about this the other day, and there are people, but I do think people, a lot of them are CEOs, but they're just not a CEO.
Businesses.
No, when you think of them, like, I'm just paying you no mind, but basically, because of my algorithm, I only see when Black people go on the Diary of the CEO. So, like, if I see a Nick Cannon, he is the CEO. Jada Pinkett is the CEO. Like, you know what I mean? Obviously, people like Ashley are not CEO, but I feel like there are more than people give him credit for going on there.
That is that the thing that they're known for? Is that the thing that has helped them to learn? Like, I'm sure Davina McCall has a company of the sort, right? The reason that she's on the show and the reason that people are interested in her is because she's been a presenter. But that's what had made her someone who's the public is interested in.
Diary of a CEO, I don't interpret it as like it just being about you have to be a business CEO. Like, I think it's just people with power, people with influence, people who have, like, you know, gone through adversity and risen above it to still be someone successful in whatever field they're in.
With him, yeah, I think I don't have an issue with the content in general. The clips that I've seen, and I have listened to some of the podcasts, they have been very interesting, but I just don't feel like it's just interviewing people that he wants to interview. It doesn't, like, when I first listened to it, I thought it was going to be like, you know, finding out about business and stuff like that, but it's really it's kind of like Piers Morgan life stories sometimes, and sometimes it's about building a business. Do you know what I mean? It's not what I thought it was going to be, but maybe that's how I interpreted it. But it's really more like Piers Morgan's life stories sometimes when I listen to it. But anyway, that's a crazy diversion into standing up for yourself. But that's what this person needs to do, to sit there like a powerless person. One more.
Okay. I've got a really simple one. And
Okay.
as someone who has to recruit for their own business, um, and has recruited for others, how many times should I email back a recruiter? So it says, I've been applying for jobs and there's one I really want. To keep it vague, it's a publishing company and they are reviewing editorials. I interviewed with them end of January and I did my editorial beginning of Feb. I emailed them about 2 weeks ago for a status and they said, we'll be in touch soon. We may be able to get back to you by the end of the week. The end of the week, meaning last week, should I reach out to them again? It's a job I really want.
No. I wouldn't, like, personally, I think, well, that's not fair. I think you can reach out to them. But one thing I know, and I've done a lot of recruitment, companies don't forget about candidates that they're truly genuinely interested in, that they're excited about. They don't just forget about them. So there's, like, very occasionally you'll have a company that knows nothing about recruitment. And so they might interview you and assume you're just going to be hanging on for a long time, even if they're going through the process or something is going on. But I think it's very unlikely. Number one, communication is key, right? So if they're saying that they're going to be in touch with you and they haven't been in touch with you, what does that say about them generally? Why they have such a little respect for your time? Why don't they assume that you're in other processes and that you might, need to know something already? You've emailed them once, so that should be enough to get you on their radar. But I genuinely think that when companies like don't email you back when they say they're going to, they're not that interested, or it doesn't mean you're not going to get the job, because they can still come back to you later and offer you a job. But I think it means they're not excited about you. And I think it means they don't value your time. Because I have never had someone who I was excited to hire, or have never seen a manager that's met someone and thought, oh, yeah, that person will be great, and then had absolute radio silence. It just doesn't happen. Even if there's something that's happening internally, like, let's say they have some other candidates in the process and they've promised to interview them in 2 weeks and they don't want to cancel, they have to see it through. They all keep you updated. Let's say something's going on internally, so they've had to put the post on hold. Let's say someone's away on holiday. Someone will remember you to get in touch. So if they come, or it might be the case that you're like their backstop. Sometimes you have like a person who you want, and then you've got a person where you're like, okay, if our first person doesn't accept, we can go back to the second person. Maybe you're the second person, right? And there's nothing wrong. If it's your dream job and you're the second person, and if they offer it to you after, it doesn't mean you can't take it. Doesn't mean you should let your ego get in the way. But if you're the first choice and they're excited about you, they won't forget you. That I genuinely believe that. What do you think?
I've kind of got mixed views. So in general, I think you're right. Like I think if a company or a hiring manager, if you're a standout, they will remember you. And usually the hiring manager will be the one pushing the recruiter to like get in touch with that person. But I do think of recent, there is definitely a saturation right now in the market of people applying for one role and loads of people coming in. And I feel like now when people are getting to the final stages of interviews, I think it might be worth like reaching out like quite quickly after the interview, because it just feels so saturated and that people at that point are just making decisions rather than on like the technical skill of whatever's needed for that job, but just on personality. So it might actually make a difference to just contact that recruiter. And I say this as somebody who like knows quite a few people who aren't working at the moment for different reasons, and pretty much all of them are very skilled in what they do with like masters, etc. And maybe, like one of the jobs that they've got to final stage for, if they did just send that extra email, they might have got it over the other person.
Mm, maybe. The thing I would say, especially in the HR market now, actually, the market I don't think is very good. Obviously, there's been a lot of redundancies. There's still redundancies ongoing, and I'm recruiting for a couple of HR roles for clients now, and there's so many applicants. Like, so I'm with you there, like so many applicants, but that hasn't, at least where I am, what I've seen, it doesn't really typically lead to delays. Maybe in the reviewing of the applications. It might take time for them to get back to people. But once you've interviewed, remember this, like usually you're not interviewing 10 people, you're interviewing 2 to 3, 3 to 4 people for that role at the first stage. This person has also said that they did an editorial. So I'm assuming there are some sort of task that they had to do, right?
No,
So
sorry, I'm just calculating in my head. So out of the people I know not working, 6 of them have got to either second to last stage or final and been ghosted. Literally, and they're all in different fields.
yeah,
So
but being ghosted, and did those people come back and offer them a job?
what do you mean?
So the person is asking in this stage, like, should they follow up with the recruiter? But I'm
Yeah,
saying,
they're at the same stages. So they've done the task as well, and they've just been
but
ghosted. So
if the
I'm
person,
saying,
are they coming
if
back to them?
huh?
I think what I'm saying, when you say ghosted, does that mean the company didn't come back to them at all and then
Yeah.
have not come back? That's what I mean.
Wait, what?
That's what I'm trying to say is, if the company hasn't come back to you, they might not be coming back to you.
Yeah,
I don't
but
care.
that's why I'm saying that sending that email, it might make a difference. It might.
It could do. I'm not saying don't send it. I'm just saying that I don't think it's going to be the thing that changes the situation. A company that's willing to ghost you, yeah, and so a company that is going to ghost you, and after you've done a task and they've seen and they've got to know you, it's not you sending an email saying hi, just checking in. That's going to
That's what I'm not saying it will necessarily change, but I think it could make a difference in terms of, oh, this person seems quite keen, because I've seen that before. I've seen, and you know how I felt about it because we've spoken about it on the previous episode where
yeah,
you were the one that was saying,
yeah. Once,
send a follow-up email after you've had
once.
an interview. Yeah,
Yeah.
that person is saying once as well, though.
No, they've done it once already.
Oh, have they?
Lisa, listen to what you're reading.
I'm actually tired
Then
because like,
they did their
oh, I emailed them about 2 weeks ago for a status, and they said they'll be in touch soon. But to be fair, do you know what? Out of respect, though, I'm not against sending another email because don't be rude. Just answer. Like,
hey,
I
yeah,
mean,
but
I have like friends close to me that are going through the experience. I'm a bit more like triggered by it, but like, I just feel like just even if they don't like that person shouldn't have to reach out to you a second time. Like, just get to it. Like, they did the task. It's been 2 weeks. Why haven't you put them out of their misery either way, kind of thing?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like,
No,
yeah,
they should definitely be in touch with. They should really even people 2 weeks. They should get back. And the only time you can say 2 weeks, I don't even think you should do it then. I just feel like something's gonna happen. This person's away. We're gonna get back to you in 2 weeks. So then at least they know, like, that
yeah,
it's gonna
manage
be 2 weeks.
expectations.
It make
Yeah,
them manage expectations. When you're telling someone we're gonna come back to you within this time frame, and you don't, and then you follow up, and then they're still not being responsive. You of course can follow up, but I'm saying I think it's not likely to be that successful. Maybe that what it will do, or like what you're saying, is prompt them to give you an outcome way. So maybe if they plan to ghost you and then you follow up, they might be, then be like, oh, we should probably tell this person they didn't get the job. Maybe that's what it'll be. But I don't think that a company can be genuinely considering you and ghost you like that. That's
I've,
crazy.
I've seen it.
Well, you see that when they come back and say, oh, sorry, we haven't spoken to you in. There's,
Yeah,
there's a lady on TikTok actually that I saw that for. I don't know if you saw that lady who was like working in social media and she was documenting her journey to looking for another job after she was made redundant. And she's the one who interviewed at Tala, and then she fed back, and then they committed and whatever. Anyway, to be fair, she did say that someone had got in contact with her after like 3 months to pick up a recruitment process after they ghosted her interview. So maybe it's possible, but I think it's unlikely. Send the email for your own peace of mind, if anything, that you can say that you've done it, and you've sent 2 now.
yeah.
I think you're a hypocrite because I don't think I can never.
I wouldn't be sending no email, but I can see, I can see how it would make a difference potentially.
I can't see how it would make a difference. I honestly can't. The only way I can see that it would make a difference, right, is in terms of them telling you that you didn't get it. So in terms of having a concrete answer. So I definitely think that's possible. That if they were planning on ghosting you, you follow up, they might follow out, crap, we'll never go back to this candidate. But I don't think if they haven't got back to you and they weren't going to offer you and they were, you were on the fence, I don't think that's the thing. But all the best. All the best. To be honest, I'm a very petty interviewer, but to be fair, I haven't been made redundant before, and I haven't ever been in. I've been in a situation where I don't have a job, but I've never been in a situation where it's gotten to the stage where I'm like, okay, I can't yet pay my bills, and I think that if I was in that stage, I definitely know that I would be willing to do like different things. So I know that I would take less money, that I might follow up more, that I might. So do you know what I mean? I know that I would probably be more proactive. So I think it depends on your situation. I know that like I'm not a particularly prideful person. So if I had to like send out some emails, I would. But from my own experience, like in this kind of situation, it's probably not going to help. But maybe you're right. Send an email for your own peace of mind.
The worst time to, and similar to you, like I've never been made redundant, and I've never like not been working since like the age of, I want to say like 19, because I've
Mm.
always had a job since the age of 16. But then from the age of 19, um, I've always been like in some form of like job consistently.
Mm.
But anyway, the point I was gonna make is the worst time to look for a job is when you don't have a job. That's like the worst time, because yeah, you're like your pride is out the window, your ego is bruised, you're getting rejections left, right, and center. Like it's just
And I
terrible.
also think it's a really horrible thing that companies do. But I also think sometimes companies value people who are not working less. And I've seen it done like when they feel like there's this perception that if you're on the market, maybe you're not very good, which is obviously not true because there's loads of reasons that you might not be working. You might have been made redundant. You might have left a toxic workplace. You might be coming back from maternity leave. There could be loads of reasons, but like that's why a lot of people are afraid to put that um, open to work banner on, and that's why I wouldn't put the open to work banner on because I know the perceptions that some people have around it, around like desperation or you must not be that good or what about your network, and I don't agree with any of those things, but I do think that's the case sometimes. People think, oh, you're not working, especially when you haven't been working for a little while. People start asking questions like, well, if they're not very good, then why are they not in the job? If they're very good, why are they not in the job? So
Mm.
that doesn't help at all.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's our dilemmas for the day. That's a wrap, guys.
Bye.
Bye.